It's about the experiences, the people we get to meet. It's about the gatherings that we do and bringing people together with the desire of seeing them express who they are, what they do for the community, for themselves, for doing like their life purpose. And that's what we get to see a lot here, people following their true hearts and risking it all and giving it a chance. And I think that's what it's all about, without being attached to a material thing. And I know it's hard, and it could be difficult to process, like, wow, but you're investing all this money time building and doing, and tomorrow it can just be gone. But that's even my own entire life.
Tomorrow we can be gone.
I can be gone right now after this podcast. And that's why I love really living in the present moment and being at my fullest right here, right now. Because I truly live on that edge that, ooh, it's gone. Everything is gone in 1 second. So it's about risking it right now. There's no other time. It's now.
Hello, Yogi Triathlete community. Welcome back to the show. I'm Jess, your host, and this is the place where we share stories of people looking, finding, and living their purpose. You see, we all come to this beautiful earth with gifts. And these gifts, they must be shared, which is why it's so important for us to go inside, to learn about ourselves, to reveal our innate bravery, which allows us to live in authenticity. Connected at the core, yet expressed individually, it is our collective purpose to realize our truth. From here, it's our individuality that gives this existence its beautiful flair and vibrancy. We need you, all of you, to be more of you. BJ and I are living it every day, allowing life to call more through us, to live and share unapologetically from our hearts. And we are so grateful to each one of you who have boarded this magnificent ride with us. Our guests today are shining examples of this incredible beauty and bravery that I speak of. Gabby and Rusty are in full creation mode, sharing their gifts, unearthing more every day, and living with loving purpose. Local to our quaint village here in Carlsbad, Gabby and Rusty are owners of EvrBottle, where everything gets a second chance. They combine their artistic abilities with their love for Mother Earth. They create products that are 100% recycled and 100% handmade with love. Their passion is upcycling, because upcycling protects the environment. It reduces our footprint and uses less energy than creating a new product. Their mission is to achieve sustainable consumption and end single use. If you've been on one of our high vibe retreats, then perhaps you've met Gabby and Rusty as we utilize their hidden vortex for our yoga sessions. Hands down, one of the most amazing spaces in town that was once a dirty, abandoned alleyway. So at this point, you guys, coming to you from the Luna Shala, which is a new space here at EvrBottle, which I'm so excited about. I'd like to welcome our beautiful friends to the show by congratulating them on their recent marriage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did I hear that you threw this wedding together in 5 days?
5 days.
Like 7 days max. Yeah,
max.
Like from the day we decided to get married.
Pretty much 5 days, and everybody in our community, in our family, in our friendhood came together to really support this spontaneous, amazing union. It was so beautiful.
Spontaneous, but you guys have been together for
19 years.
19 years.
Decades.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you for having us here.
And you've been here in Carlsbad since 2003, we were just
2003,
saying.
yes.
So you've seen a lot of change.
A lot, especially in the last, 8 years? Yes, it's becoming crowded, but we love it because we can always see the new people that comes in, new ideas. So progress is good and bad, and that's something we had to learn how to deal with and try to make the best out of it.
Well, I think that energy is really available here in the village right now because it really is blowing up. We were just talking about like all the new townhomes and everything that's going up here in the village, and there's a fight against it. And then there's also, we look at it from an abundance mindset. Like, this is an abundant place to live, and let's get more people into this special place so that we can share it, and to try and protect it and hold on to it. We end up squeezing that energy out. Tell us about, I want to get a little bit more on your backstory. When did you guys meet here in America? Because you didn't grow, you weren't born here in America, Gabby, right?
I was.
You were?
Yes, I was
But
born
where's
in
your
Denver,
family?
Colorado.
Denver?
Yes.
It's not that exciting. I thought it was going to be more exciting than this. No. So you, but your family is from where?
My family's from Venezuela. My mother happened to be going to the University of Denver, and I happened to be born here, and I was only here for 6 months, and then we flew back to Venezuela, where I was basically raised until I was 16.
Okay.
Yes.
And then did you come to America?
And then I moved here for...
Who did you move here with?
I moved here with my oldest brother, who's been living here for over probably 15 years already. And something had happened in my country that made me live in fear, and I never wanted to live in fear in my life. So I made the decision to move here with my brother for a while, and that truly shifted everything in my life. Yes.
Can you expand a little more on the fear?
Yes, absolutely. So I was in my house being 15 years old, and my house is always a place where people gathers and comes, and you could never be alone at my house. You know, there was always somebody at the house, my grandma, my brothers, someone. And this one day, my grandma had to go pay like an electricity bill, and she goes, I'll be right back, and just stay here. I'm like, okay. That one day that she took off for about an hour and a half, 4 men came into the house, and they tied me up, they throw me on the ground. It was very scary, especially because it was 4 men and me only being 15. I was in a very like vulnerable space, like always in my mind, like what's gonna happen. I was just truly dropping into the praying source of everything, and just trying to imagine, even though I was in a lot of fear, it was trying to come back to the center that I am protected, and I am with a lot of guidance, and nothing bad will happen. And it really, nothing bad happened of what I was afraid of. They did what they needed to do. They took things away, like material things from the house. And then right after that, it was like I was living in fear. Like I couldn't walk to my school anymore. I couldn't walk to get, food. It was always like everybody was coming at me. Everybody was going to rob me. And that's when I made the decision to not even, like I graduated from high school, but you always want to go to like the party at the end of high school. It was immediately, I got my notes back, and the next day I left, and that was when I made the shift to move with my brother to Virginia.
You've shared that story with me before. So Yogi Triathlete Podcast, to have that come up in the first 7 minutes of the conversation. Thank you so much for sharing that, because, fear is something that a lot of people live in, and so you were experiencing that fear, like your nervous system was still very much in that fear afterwards. And a lot of times we think that, if we do this thing that we're not going to have fear anymore. And so you left the country, like literally left the country, moved to Virginia. Did that fear come with you, or how do you feel like you've healed from that?
That fear sometimes still taggles along, but I've really worked a lot on really not focusing on that, because it really brings me down in the present moment. And in my present moment, I always want to live my fullest. So it's been a constant practice to really use that for like a guidance of good people and bad people around me, or places I need to be and places I don't need to be. Like that grew a lot after that. And I was very intuitive of like, where do I need to be and where do I don't need to be part of anymore. So that kind of had a positive impact somehow. But there is places, especially when I'm in big cities and I see people around me, like, and I just try not to judge ever. But because I have that, sometimes I look at someone and I'm like, oh my God, they're going to rob me, they're going to rape me, they're going to, so I try to really close that off really fast, because it's not something that I would like to keep feeding my soul with, especially like when you leave that, you don't want to keep reliving that.
Right.
But
right.
there's moments where you can't escape it. So it's right there and you're like, oh my God, I'm feeling like that moment again.
So where do you go in those moments? Where do you go to calm the fear?
The most amazing practice that I have for myself on that, I really put my hands in my heart and I stop and I just like either hug my heart, hug myself, and I take deep breath. And that's what I do, and I try to share it with whoever is next to me. And I be like, I want you to know I'm having a little bit of fear because of this environment or whatever that is. I try not to do it all alone. Just kind of like, even if it's someone that is not close to me, I'm like, I don't want you to be scared or anything, but I want you to know where I'm standing right now, and I'm trying to calm down. Just give me a moment. So I just try to do that. I hold my heart really hard. And
letting people, I love that communication that you do, because it almost, it doesn't fuel the fear. It almost like, just kind of like, okay, this is what's happening, and I'm okay right now, and I'm just sharing it with you. And it's almost like what am I trying to say? Like it disengages it.
Yeah, well, it also relieves them too, so they don't pick up on the same
vibration. Yes.
You've
Right.
already quelled it ahead of time. You've sort of, this is completely normal. I'm just gathering myself. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Support.
Yeah.
And support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Support and just breathing through it, and like that really is what calms me and brings me to center again.
Yeah.
Did that,
Yes.
Has that always? Did you have the vibration? Was it higher at some point where you had to be working on that and keep? This needs to happen.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially when I used to live in the East Coast more than here.
You feel the energy is different on the East.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially like we used to work late nights, like so you were on the streets of DC where you see all kinds of things. So you're like, Rusty, I'm so scared right now. You know, but it's just moments in life.
Yeah.
And as long as like I am grateful for the tools that have helped me calm that part of my nervous system and myself when I reach to those environments or places.
Yeah, and that's a perfect analogy. The tools in your toolbox, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
these experiences that are opportunities to grasp something that you can now have at your ready when these things arise, because they're going to arise again. It's not, you can't just shut this out, right?
Yeah.
Because things are going to come back stronger.
And it's part of who made you who you are, and it's part of your journey. It was there for sure.
So you took the embrace route. Embrace this, try to work through it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And try to never be the victim. You know, like I don't like being victims. It's what it is, and embrace it and challenge yourself to be better and to heal yourself so you can deliver for yourself and others better energy,
Yeah.
higher vibrations.
It's amazing.
Give you a better understanding with other people too, you know, because everybody has their fears. So when you know how to channel your fears, you can help other people channel their fears. So I think Gabby does a lot of that.
Oh, 100%. Like, Gabby, when you are just love, like you are love. You are, we met at the yoga studio here in the Village, and you're just somebody that I want to I want to curl up in your lap because I know that you'll put a blanket on me. You just made me fresh squeezed, amazing orange juice, and that it's got 10 times the nutrition because you were doing it with love. I feel so much love with you, and all of your experiences have, created who you are today, and embracing, like BJ said, the embrace route. I love that. Rusty, where did you grow up?
Venezuela, both in the same town.
So did you guys know each other? And
Yes, Gabby's brothers are some of my best friends.
Uh-huh.
So we used to hang out together, but she was always the little sister, So
Yeah.
you kind of like don't see her. It's like doesn't exist.
Did you see Rusty?
No,
No.
not back then,
No,
right?
she's like, no.
No, just like a friend of
Yeah.
my brothers, and I was, yes.
Yeah, I remember I had one of the businesses. Well, I was still living back there. I was driving a beat up truck, and because my dad has an auto part business, so they had like the delivery truck. It was like an old pickup truck, and because I had a group of friends, Gabby's brothers and other friends, we will rollerblade, and we have like ramps and stuff like that. So the truck was super beat up. We had a actually home speaker on the roof of the truck, so it was like it it was horrible. The whole truck was horrible. And one time I went to look for one of her brothers, and he's like, "Oh no, they're already over there at the park." And it's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go over there." And Gabby needed a ride to go to the mall that was next to the park. And I was like, "Well, I'm going over there." And she's like, "No, thank you."
I was gonna meet with a lot of friends there,
She's like,
and
And you didn't want to get dropped off in that truck?
No,
Like, no.
now that has shifted for sure.
but she took the ride. I dropped it off over there, and she rode on that, and I dropped it off right in front of the mall.
Actually
where all
had
the friends
fun.
were. So it was good, but back then we never thought about anything until when she moved to Virginia. I was already living with her brothers over there because from Venezuela, I moved to Miami. I was there for a couple of years, and then moved to Virginia with Gabby's brothers. Then Gabby moved in, and then later on is when we started hanging out. We used to do a lot of things together. We still do. It's kind of like the same vibe. We do a lot of things that we like to do. Like a lot of couples, they have their thing that the guy does this and the girls do that. We do more than average together, I think, right?
And we enjoy it a lot.
So
Yes.
we both like camping. We both like hiking. We both like working on stuff. So it's pretty easy because we like doing the same things and we enjoy it. So
And at the same time, we've created our own individual worlds and we have find the space to really create ourselves alone and together. So
Yeah, I think that's really important to have that stability in yourself, the belief that you can stand alone, but you prefer to be
Yeah.
complemented by the other
and
person.
share it with
Yes.
somebody you love, and it's your friend as well, your best friend.
we always done a lot of stuff like just spontaneous, just like out of nowhere, especially from her side. I'm just like, okay, let's do it. So we just go. She likes to do the adventures, and I tag along, and then I'm the one that get the crazy idea. So like, this we should have a business. We should have this. We should like the more, So it's a good balance, and then I get her support. She gets my support. So it makes it fun and easy.
When did you guys start falling in love? Do you have a moment?
I think it was kind of sneak. I think it was, but it was a moment. But I think we didn't see it coming. Like one of those things.
It was like everything in our life, so unexpected and so organic. Honestly, it was like we were hanging out, one thing, the other. I know it was a huge storm that night, and then on that storm, we kind of like started
That's what
getting
connected.
closer together, and something clicked and shifted that moment, and it was just
But-
love and
Yes.
ups and downs and roller coasters.
But I think
and
our whole relationship is being not planned. Like everything that we do, including
including our
EvrBottle, we never plan it. So it's just things that it felt so natural that we just keep going. So we've been together like a little over 19 years now, and now we decided to get married, and it was great. I didn't expect it to be like that, but it's just what we wanted to do.
So that's how things flow. You have an idea. So this is really important. The idea is sparked, and then you let it roll. You let the universe pretty much take it.
Yes.
Whereas I think we all know people that have the idea and then they get into that business plan, and then it's got to be hard. Like, this is exactly the steps that things need to take. And then when that doesn't happen, frustration
Yes.
occurs.
And sometimes, because you always, the grass is always greener, on the other
course,
side.
yeah.
Sometimes it's like, how come there's some people that they say, this is what I'm going to do, and this is when I'm going to do it, and they do it. And like, sometimes like, we don't know what we want to do in 5 years. It feels good what we're doing right now, so let's keep going, but you never know. And then something crazy happens, and next you were going right, and now you're going left. So
I think in the past 10 years, we've learned a lot to really stay in the present moment and not to go too far out or come too much in the past. We feel like that has unlocked many gifts in our path for us, staying in the present moment and just being open and following our heart, our genuine ideas, and at our own pace. And that's, I think, what's important in our path that has helped us. We don't try to rush into things. We don't try to ask for loans to make something happen. If we have an idea, we work towards it, and it's almost like the pace of nature. You know, like there's, oh, let's go ask for a loan because I want this now. No, we want this, but right now it's not the moment, but let's keep doing this because this will fall through.
So keep taking action in the moment that creates the momentum.
Yes.
Yes.
Patience.
Patience.
A
Lots
lot
of
of it.
patience.
A lot of
Yes.
patience.
Yes.
So where do you think patience is in a moment, like, or in a day, or in an experience? How does somebody be patient?
Patient. I think you gotta always take a step out of the situation and see it for a second and be like, do I really need to either stress out or worry this much for it? Because we all worry all the time for little things, and like a lot of people say it, sometimes we worry more about things that never happen than the things that actually happen. So we still work on try to step out of it, think about it, see it, and then be realistic with yourself. You know, it's like, hey, is this even possible? Or hey, this is happening and it's really bad. What can we do with it? And then talk about it and see what happens. And thankfully we have each other, so it makes it a little easier. Sometimes things happen to me, sometimes things happen to her, so we got that balance. Sometimes it happened to the both of us, and then we see how there's other people that got you.
Has your back.
In the
Yes.
universe.
So
Yeah.
the people that you surround yourself with is pretty important.
Oh,
That's
it's
super
pillars,
important.
Pillars in our lives. Yes.
You don't realize how important they are until you know they're there. You know, because sometimes like people are like, they're there, you see them all the time and everything, but when things get crazy in a bad way or unexpected ways, you can totally see the support, and that's when people show, and that's when you're like, wow. Those are those wow moments that you're like, okay, I don't have to do this alone.
How comfortable? Because this is a question we get a lot. Because you spend a lot of time with each other, and you probably call yourselves out on a lot of stuff. So if you
Oh, yeah.
see someone going down the road, how do you get that? How do you bridge that gap between being uncomfortable, between shutting down? Like one person will shut down and the other person's trying to give them some.
Is
some
this about our
feedback.
conversation
we had
yesterday,
this
honey?
Or yesterday, or this morning. Because we spend a lot of time. I mean,
We had a very unproductive conversation yesterday.
and so we stepped out of it. But
What do you think? Like, everybody has this. If somebody tells you they don't have these type of situations in the relationship, in my opinion, they're lying. There's moments you gotta walk away and breathe, and then come back and second shot. But
Second chance.
that too. but I think, yeah, I mean, it's not perfect. I don't think it's ever meant to be perfect.
I believe when you choose to be in a relationship, you can choose for like the right person or for the right everything. Is choosing who is it worth to do it all with. You know, because no matter what or who you're with, there's always going to be these reflections. We're mirrors to each other. So at the beginning, in the moment we're telling our truth, it could feel really heavy and hard. But if you give it some time and you don't take it so personally or you don't get so defensive about it, you can come to a clarification in your mind of, wow, that's good to know. I never noticed that on me. Or you know what, that's completely not what I feel. And it just gives you these times to like meditate on what's happening and truly self-reflect on yourself. And I feel self-reflection is a key for relationships.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's huge. Like we walked away yesterday and I gave myself, my experience was I had space to kind of reflect, and I was like, the very thing I said I wasn't doing was the very thing I was doing. Because when we're in it, it's hard to see when you're in it. And this can be your relationship with your spouse or your partner or your employee or your boss or your pet. Like when you're in it, it's hard to see the blocks. But when you take a step back, like I could see like, oh my gosh, there was a big block there, you know, and it was all fine. But yeah, I think the space thing is huge. And Gabby, you had mentioned earlier, like the present moment, like being present. So to you, what is presence? Like, how would you, if somebody's like, I don't know how to get present. Like, I'm trying to get present, but I don't know. We're present. We're still in the emotion. We're still in the block.
That's being present. And
Feeling it.
Feeling it. That to me is being present and not trying to avoid it or not trying to escape that present moment, even if it's tears, even if it's joy, whatever it is, it's embracing that and self-reflecting on that.
Yeah.
Mainly.
Yeah.
Well, people tell you in the society, they show you that it's okay to show happiness. You know, if you go to a restaurant and people are laughing and all that stuff, it's great. Nobody says anything. But if somebody starts crying, then it's a taboo. I'm not talking about a baby, but grown-ups, you know. And people want to do the same thing, like take it out of the room, like hide it or don't, you know. And one thing I have learned with Gabby is I get emotional. I was not an emotional person before, that emotional. From my family and Gabby's family, they're two different families. My family, they you know, like they hug less and they never cry. Gabby's family, they hug more and they cry more. so it's one of those things, and every family is different. But that's something I have learned to do more, to feel things and letting affect me in the way they affect me, you know, and learn to control them. Because if you don't experience a feeling, you're never gonna know how to control it, what to do with it. So they always tell you, don't cry, don't tell people that something bad happened to you or whatever. You're gonna know what to do with it. So
we truly believe in sharing that with community, because that's how we get to heal, to integrate ourselves, to move on in a better way.
In family, so this is opening up a whole nother thing, like that doesn't have to be your story, Rusty, right? It doesn't, because your family wasn't always huggy and crying, doesn't mean you have to continue that legacy. And,
No.
and it can be anything. It can be financial woes or whatever, but you have the opportunity to change that.
Yeah.
And so if you're open to it and
it's your life, so you only have one chance to live it. So you gotta choose what you want it to be. If you see somebody else's life and you're like, oh, that's great, well, you could have something like that in your life if that's what you want, you know, that you like how somebody, oh, that person's laughing all the time. Well, try to laugh a little more if that's what you like, you know. It's like you just always got to put your mind to it and try to make the change. And as long as you're happy with yourself, don't do it because people think laughing is what you need to be doing to be happy. Maybe you don't need to laugh to be happy. You know, maybe you're happy just sitting and reading a book and that's your happiest moment. Then do that, you know, get more books. So, you know,
it's really simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find out what you love and do more of it.
Yeah, and do more of it. So speaking of doing what you love and doing more of it, gosh, every time I come here, and the lucky gems who have been on High Vibe retreats with us, we started using the Hidden Vortex for our yoga sessions, which is such a special, really cool. I mean, not only is it a special place and it's a sacred place, it's freaking gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And now there's a ladder that comes up to the Luna Shala where we are sitting now, which anybody would have said, well, that's just a, you know, overcooked roof. And we're sitting in this amazing space outside, which that's one of the things I love about this podcast and being primarily in person is that we podcast everywhere. One of my favorite ones is being outside. We're hearing the train go by. We're hearing the expansion of the village with construction in the background. I'm looking at this palm tree where apparently there's a large family of raccoons that live in it during the day, and they come out at 10:09 p.m.
Yes.
You guys, every time I come here, there's something more beautiful. There's something that is more colorful. There's something that feels like love is expanding here in every moment. And this has been a work in progress. We've been here for 3.5 years. One of the first places I found when I moved here was at the time called Yoga Bound, which is right across the street. And I saw you guys immediately, like, what is that? What are they doing? So how did this all begin?
Wow.
Because it's insane. Like, it's insane.
It
Like,
is.
I can't wait to share more of this with our amazing people that come on retreat with us.
Remember how we said that that a lot of it hasn't been planned? This wasn't planned. If somebody would have showed us this today and said, hey, you want to get into making this? We probably would have said, like, no. That seems crazy and all that stuff, you know. But it was a little step at a time. right?
Yes, it was one step at a time, and I think it was because we were always so connected, always been so connected to nature, that we wanted to do something that could serve nature and us. So that's how kind of EvrBottle came together, but it was actually too after a trip to Mexico, and we found these glasses made out of vodka bottles, and they were huge, and he fell in love with them. And we got a few, and they broke, and we went back and got a few, and they broke, and we went back, and the guy wasn't there anymore. And we're like,
Yeah, there was a gift shop, and they had like a little shelf from a
"You don't
local
have
guy
more
that makes them.
glass bottles made out of bottles?" And we like,
The connection happened.
yeah,
Like,
what do we need to do? I mean, you really love those glasses.
We
You
had a-
drove all the way here because you love them and for the experience. And that's when we decided, why don't we try and giving some bottles a second chance ourselves and see what happens. And next thing to it, my house, 1,300 square foot, was filled with bottles and a little path for you to kind of walk and not stumble on bottles.
We didn't the dining room table, the kitchen counter. We had a patio, and the whole patio was full of bottles.
It was like a recycling house under.
It got out of control, and that's the part that I said, like when I want to do something, I started going strong at it, and then Gabby's like, hey, watch what you're doing, and let's think about
Let's
this.
be more mindful. Like I get, like we were talking about even the construction in the village. I'm not against the construction in the village. Is doing it mindfully. You know, there's other ways to do things. So I was like, we're getting out of control here. Even our lives are getting out of control. This is not being done mindfully. We have to find a way to like separate our life a little bit, because it's all connected at the end. But if you can just find little pockets for each thing and then go back to them when you need to, it makes everything way more.
Well, you see this all the time. Like somebody reads a book or they watch a movie or document, and then they're like, you get really excited about it. Like, yeah, and then all of a sudden you're living in a house that's like there's nowhere to sit because it's all bottles.
I had an alarm set on my phone around 1:00 in the morning, because the bars, they close at 1:30. So I will wake up and go and meet with the bar managers or you know the person working at the bar at that time, and I will wait for them to close, and I'll pick up the bottles from the back. You know, so they tell me, if you want the bottles, you got to show up when we close. So I will do that to get bottles and to learn what bottles were better.
For about 6 months, he did that.
Oh yeah.
And then you have to kind of pull back, right? To make it sustainable, you got to pull back and be like, okay, wait a minute, we can't just keep collecting bottles. Like, we got to do something
Well,
with
we were
them.
breaking a lot of them, learning how to cut them. You know, we didn't have it down, and we were breaking like maybe 80 bottles out of 100.
well, how did you learn? Did you
Practice.
You got really good
practice.
Practice.
cleaning up glass.
We have friends sending us videos of how to do it, so we're trying everything people were sending us, you know. And back then, I know it's crazy, but there was not all this information online on how to do things, you know. Now it's way more.
Upcycling was not even a word.
Yeah. So we started trying everything, and we even ordered a little machine from Peru to try it, you know, in a different way. And they all were working, but not quite right. So we kept practicing and improvising and adding little things, you know, to the machines, making little jigs and stuff. And then we got a system down, and then we started applying it. But by that time, Gabby's like, okay, the bottles need to get out of the house. So I'm like, okay. So I started walking around and asking for places where I can, you know, have a little space or something. And we found Paul. Paul had a place down here on State Street where those new condos are at the
Yep.
end. He was a glass shop, and he would old school glass shop with everything you want, you know, old knobs, old glass, any type of glass, everything. And he has some spaces in the back, like old sheds, and he will rent them out for people to do whatever. And we couldn't afford to rent it. That's how bad it was, remember? So what he did is he told me, I asked him if he could, hey, can you help me polishing the bottles, and I'll pay you because the machine that I have is not working too good. He tried it. I went back, and he's like, hey, you know what? This is a lot of work. Why don't you come on Saturdays and you pay me to rent the machine, and you can do it yourself? So every Saturday, I'll be there by the time he opens until the time he closes, just with a basket full of bottles already cut to polish them.
And then we decided to join like farmers markets, artisan markets, and kind of put something together. And we started to believing, and like there was so much going to waste that could be upcycled, that could be given a second chance. And that's basically how it all began. Like it started just falling, and we started going to all these markets, trying to reach out to people with a concept of reusing and reusing what we already have.
And you don't have to cut bottles. You don't have to do something that complicated. You can just reuse your jars from your pasta sauce or whatever. Just reuse them. Don't go and buy a brand new mason jar. Just use the one you already have. Like anything you have. Like at home we have pasta sauce, bottles, and we use that as glasses too. We just don't use all of our glasses. We use those, but we use that too.
We use the choice. After we get juices, choice, and then we stack them up, and we use the Nomad Eats.
We use the Nomad Eats to store the food, and then we have some EvrBottles that we have. But yeah, I mean, we just have like BJ's favorite wine glass right now is like a low little. I think we got some jam at the farmers market. It's like this wide mouth.
Because
cool
the plot has these, I don't know if you know the plot.
Yeah.
They have these wide,
really cool
wine
wide
glasses. They're just wide and small and short.
Yeah.
They're almost like ramekins. So he's like drinking wine
Nice.
out of like a ramekin now, but
So
he loves it.
sometimes you don't have to go that far to make it work.
Right.
Just think of something you already have, and if you can give that more than one use, use it for different things, man, that's great. And don't buy 6 if you only need 2 because they're on sale. Just buy the 2
Just
that you need.
because they're on sale doesn't mean you have to buy the 6
Yeah.
that
So
are
that you
on
need
sale.
it all.
What I always tell people is like, if you can, let's say you need a glass. Okay, don't go and buy a dozen of glasses because you can afford it. If you only need 1. Just get that one, but buy it a good quality one. It might cost you the same as the other 12, but it's gonna be the one glass, a good glass, and you're gonna be happy with it. And that's all you really need.
And the impact that you have by doing that ripples in so many ways, because something that you bought in China or made in China is not the same as you supporting your local community, your local people, your economy, and shifting that mindset that I need to have more and more, which is and they understand that it's less quality, and they buy it with this mindset that, oh, I know it's more and it's gonna break, but it's okay, I'll just buy another one. That hurts.
We used to do that with, I think it was coffee when we were on the road. Like we want your smallest coffee, and the smallest coffee was big, and we're like, I know we don't need all that. Like we just don't need it all. Can we have half the cup?
How many times have we said like, I just want one.
Just
Yeah.
one.
I just want to buy
and there's
one.
places
I
that
can't,
they didn't
like,
have one. You
I
had to
don't
buy
want-
like 2 or 3.
I don't want 3 packs of 4. I just want one single.
I'll give you
That's
a
it.
tip. This is something that we do when we like to do road trips all the time, every time we can, and travel. So one way you can save money and help the locals is when you travel, buy local made. So first, you're going to get something unique. You're going to hopefully meet the person that made it. And second, you're not going to buy 20 gifts on the road or souvenirs. You're going to probably buy 1 or 2. And yeah, they're not going to be the cheapest, but you're going to appreciate it. And you supporting that family, you supporting that community. So if you like a place, you go to visit a place or a city, then if you like that place, support the people that live there and that are working there by buying there, because you vote with your money. At the end of the road, that's what you're voting with, where you put your money. And it's not hard. You can do smart choices just by talking a little bit to the person that works there or checking online. We got so many tools nowadays that it's not that hard to know where your money's going. So that's a good tip, I think.
So this is, I think, just now we're talking about this. So how does someone wrap their head around that? Supporting the community bit by bit, because we do. I mean, we believe in that, but they feel that their impact should be bigger.
Oh yeah, like yeah, that's what we were talking about. Like, what do you say to someone who feels like, well, I could do that, but it's like, is it really going to make a difference?
Yes.
Is there an impact that's too small?
No. No, everything impacts.
Everything impacts. I just believed we are set to see things in a bigger scale all the time, when really by doing little by little is how you start shifting. If you try to do like, oh, I just want to leave 100% upcycling, your life is going to become chaotic, and your life is going to be you're going to be in a very frustrating place at that moment, because you can solve the world's problems. You can begin only by solving your home problems. So if you start with little things at home, one thing at a time, it just becomes a habit and a practice to really challenge yourself to always shift to a better you. But if you try to do it all at once, it becomes almost impossible. It becomes almost like a big burden that you can even wrap your head around it.
Too hard.
It's a lot. So you just have to be really gentle with the choices you made, and know that you can solve everybody's problems. You can save the world, but you can little by little add on to what you want to see in this world. So it's just focusing on the little things. That's where it all begins, on the little things. Just don't, going too big is very overwhelming, and it keeps people from not doing nothing.
Scary.
So I'd rather you not to think in a big way, and just think about, okay, from now on, I'm just going to buy at the farmer's market this and this and that, and then start with few products, and then you add more products, and at the time you realize, maybe in 2 years, 3 years, even 5, you just have to be gentle and patient. You're gonna be like, wow, now I'm on year 5 and I'm buying 95% of the stuff at the farmer's market. That's awesome. I used to never do that. And yes, you are impacting huge by those little changes you did in every family, in every community. It's a way of bringing more purpose into your life too.
And even if some people say, but I don't have the budget to go to the market and buy everything at the market, it's expensive. And it's good stuff, but like I said, you buy what you need. You don't buy extra. None of that stuff that you're buying should go bad in your fridge. You should be able to use it all. And there's ways to do it. There's organizations that you put your time into it, and you go and pick fruit, people's jar and stuff. They go get together, go and pick like fruit, and then they give you a part of it. So there's ways to do it. You put a little bit of time, you can get products back. You can trade. So if you don't have the money, well, make it work. A lot of these people that are local, it's not like a big corporation. They will work with you. So there's always a way.
Sometimes when I hear that about like, it's too expensive for me to afford those changes, I would like to, I did this with myself, and is write down my priorities in life, because it's all about priorities. It really is. What do you want to see first? And maybe myself, I'd rather choose more experiences than material things. So I'm not a person who's constantly buying stuff, because before I buy something, I think, oh, but I can go on a road trip with Rusty with that money, and I don't really need that extra jacket. So, you know what? No. Or I look at the jacket and I say, well, I have 3, and I could buy more things at the farmer's market. So I just kind of put my priorities out there, and I lay them out. And I think it's important to really do this practice either in your head or in your heart, where you like lay things out and you're like, is this a priority for me right now? Is there something in my dreams that I want to work towards to, but I haven't been able to because I keep spending my money on things I'm not asking myself if I truly need this 3 times. For me, is about experiences and priority. So when somebody tells me it's too expensive, then look at everything that is surrounding you and know that you could make the shifts for this, but it's truly about what they want in life.
Mm-hmm.
It's presence. Go back to your presence, and
Yes.
I'll go out and say it, because it's laziness, right?
Thank you.
It's laziness.
Yes.
No, it is.
And it's an epidemic in this society. Like, people will just go on the automatic pilot. What is it? Too expensive. And then if you dig deeper, it's really not being too expensive. They just don't want to do the work. Or, to your point, Gabby, it's not a priority, and that's okay too if that's not a priority.
Just don't
But
complain
stop
about
using
it.
yeah, but don't complain about
Yeah.
it.
Don't say you can't do it. Don't say it's not available to you. Just if you want it, you can make it happen. That's for sure.
I think too expensive, expensive enough, too cheap. Like, it's all perspective.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
all perspective. So
Absolutely.
it's do the perspectives through which you live and see the world, do they serve you? Do they fill your heart? Do they align you with your dreams? Yes or no? And if they don't, then there's an endless amount of other perspectives that you
Yes.
can adopt on that same very thing that you're holding this limiting perspective in place. You know, as two people who got rid of everything they owned and moved into their car, when we got to that point in life where everyone, like, you're supposed to get to. We lived in our dream home. BJ had a fat paycheck, was making all this money, and I was like, I can't even breathe. Like, I couldn't breathe. I had everything, and it was like I was drowning in a bowl of vanilla, you know, and it had to go. And now I love it because if something comes into the house, it is thoughtful. Sometimes we want things, like we have this little espresso maker because we ordered the wrong one, quote unquote, the wrong one.
It's only 3 cups.
We
want
wanted
like
the
6
bigger
cups.
one. And so we got the small one, and like the handles kind of melted off because it's so small that the fire, you know,
Yeah.
it burns it. And then the gasket broke on it, and we were like, oh, we can get the new one. And immediately I was like, but now what? Now I throw this away? Like, now
Yeah.
what? Like,
There's gotta be
now
replacement
the earth
gaskets.
now the earth
Okay.
has to deal with this.
That's what's important to choose before you buy, especially now that Amazon. You know, everybody has Amazon on their fingertips, and they can get things in a couple days, one day, whatever.
Here in California, it's same day.
Oh,
pretty
it's
much.
crazy.
It's crazy.
Amazon now.
So
Yeah, Amazon now.
So what I tell people is like the same thing. Maybe you can find an espresso machine that is small. Maybe it's from Italy or who knows where, but it's gonna cost you $300 instead of $50, for example. The 50 one is all plastic and all the stuff, and then maybe the $300 one is steel, is made by a small company in Italy or something like that, and then that'll be good. And then you say, okay, I can't afford to get it right now, but how bad do I want to have good coffee and have a machine that's gonna last me a long time, and they can repair for me too. So then when you're ready, you pull the trigger, spend the $300, you buy that one, and then the gasket broke, you call them, they send you a new gasket, replace it, and you keep going.
That's exactly what we did. And now
So,
we've got the
okay.
same melted handle little mocha, and it's like got a brand new gasket. And we're like, this is
Yeah.
fine.
But I couldn't buy one gasket. I could only buy
Oh, that's
3
right.
gaskets.
That's right. You did.
You have it. It might break again. So you keep on repairing it.
Hopefully the gasket the weak
More
point.
coffee. We got to blow that gasket out. But that was something that you know, we lived simply by American standards. We didn't have a TV. We've had one car for as long as we've been together, which is over 20 years. We lived simply. Like, if you opened a drawer, it was either empty or like if there was a candle, it was burning. Like, we didn't have, the closets were not packed with stuff. And even though we gave away a ton and we sold a ton, the day we pulled out of our driveway, I turned around and I looked at the curb, and I could cry right now because I just remember being like, now what?
It's hard.
It
Now
feels empty.
what? Like, now what? That there's a pile of shit on the curb that we created that is going to go in the earth. You know, if people are probably going to pick at it or whatever, but it's probably going to go in the earth. And I'm never gonna live like that again. It was so like full circle here. Like I could have beat myself up about that, or I could have said, what a beautiful example of what I don't want ever again in my life is a pile of shit on the corner, you know, that is gonna go into a landfill.
I think that's the most important part. Being gentle with yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
Because
Like-
even though it was we lived simple,
We sold
there
a
was
ton of stuff. We had our car packed. We gave away a lot of stuff, and there was still
stuff.
stuff.
You know why I think trash bags are black?
Yeah.
So you don't see that. You put in a trash bag, you don't see it, and then it goes away. And that's the
Away.
that's the thing that
Away.
Right, it wears
yeah,
away.
That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yes.
Remember that they don't go away. They're going somewhere and they're staying there. And most of the time it's a landfill, and then they put dirt on top of it, and like nothing ever happened. So
Oh, isn't that?
Again, it's
Don't we
burying-
see that
Yeah.
in
burying
so
the
many,
obvious.
so
So
many places?
when people have clear trash bags, it brings a little more mindfulness to your daily routine, because now you can see everything that is in it. You know, you're not blocking it.
It's a little bit about life and the healing path, kind of. There's things that you just want to cover them up, and you're like, oh no, I'm not seeing that. I'm not taking. I'm okay.
It's not
and
there.
You're not okay. You know, and you're like, take that black bag out, and you're gonna see there's so much to work with. So it's just a reflection of, even of our lives, like.
And I think this whole movement with the small businesses nowadays, that people are making things, it reminds me of, well, I didn't live back then, but back in the 50s, the 40s, what I see, you can totally see that it's coming back, you know, making things. And now who makes it can fix it for you too. You know, you go to this place, now they make hats again. And you can get a tailored hat if you like hats. You can get shoes, tailored shoes. And, you know, the soles is wearing, okay, they can go and put a new sole on it. You know, all that is happening again. There's companies that are working and they fix your adventure gear. You know, you have a snowboard jackets or whatever, they fix them for you.
How about a Patagonia?
BJ needs a new zipper.
So all 3 zippers are broken on this thing. All 3.
Okay, I think there's I'm gonna give you the contact, because actually Patagonia is working with a company that is I believe it's a guy and a girl, and they travel around the country, and they set dates at different Patagonia stores and different gear stores, and you can take your jacket and they will fix it within. They spend like a weekend or a week at the most, and they can fix it for you. Sometimes you'll have you say you have a tear, they'll have the material and it'll be a different color, but they make it look nice. So, you know, but it's the same jacket.
That's cool.
And I have 1 coat.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah.
so my
And it's
fear.
and it's winter in Southern
my fear.
California.
It's
Yes.
Southern California. And my Bitmoji has this coat on, so my little emoticon on my
So
phone
that's important.
has it. So it's important.
Yeah.
You know, I got to maintain the brand.
But, you see,
But that's good to know.
But those companies are coming
Yeah.
out and they're doing it, and I love that concept, because
Yeah.
you buy something that is good, and you can keep it going. You know, even if it breaks, you get people that can fix it for you now, and all that stuff. That's kind of like a lost thing that is coming back, and I like to see that. That's why I love all the little, you know, people making stuff, and they're like, well, I don't know if I just try it, do it as a hobby, you know. And then next thing you know, they're hooked and they're doing it as a business. I was like, ha, told you.
Yeah. So how did you get from the place down the street polishing bottles to, you know, to EvrBottle, in this really like this complex that you guys have taken over and put so much love into? Which, by the way, I want to make a point here. Like, you don't own this.
No.
I mean, own, right,
we
quote
lease
unquote.
it.
You lease it,
Yes.
but you're like, and somebody would say, what are you, I'm sure they have said to you, people might have said to you, what are you doing? You're putting money into this and you're not going to get that money back. And so you're building this amazing.
We already got the money back. No, not money wise, but with experiences.
Yeah.
Like every time that you came over here, you're enjoying the space. That's it. That already makes it. You know, for us, that every day. It's like money. It would be nice to always make a little more money to like keep it going, but money at the end of the day is not what matters the most. You know, we get to share with a lot of special people every day, and before at the beginning, remember we were a little like, should we paint this wall? You know, it costs money to paint it, and everything is expensive. And
Then it all shifted to what I was telling you early, that we now do things from that present moment, and right now we're given this, so we're doing our 100% the best that we can with it, whether it's going to be taken away from us or not, because it's not about getting attached to something. It's not about owning something. It's about whatever we created here, if it's ever taken away, we can buy land, we can move to another lease place and recreate that. And it's about the experiences, the people we get to meet. It's about the gatherings that we do and bringing people together with the desire of seeing them express who they are, what they do for the community, for themselves, for doing like their life purpose. And that's what we get to see a lot here, people following their true hearts and risking it all and giving it a chance. And I think that's what it's all about, without being attached to a material thing. And I know it's hard, and it could be difficult to process, like, wow, but you're investing all this money
Time and money.
time building and doing, and tomorrow it can just be gone. But that's even my own entire life.
Tomorrow we can be gone.
I can be gone right now after this podcast. And that's why I love really living in the present moment and being at my fullest right here, right now. Because I truly live on that edge that, ooh, it's gone. Everything is gone in 1 second. So it's about risking it right now. There's no other time. It's now.
We never know if we're going to be able to. People say, oh, when I retire, I'm going to travel the world. When I retire, I'm going to do road trips. You don't have a guarantee that you're going to retire. You don't have a guarantee you're going to make it that old. You don't have a guarantee you're going to have the money or your body's going to be in the shape to do any of those things. So try to do a couple of those things right now. Don't wait for the next vacation. Don't wait. Just take a long weekend. Call in sick one day and go and take one of those things on the bucket list. Check it out. But how we got here. So we were down the street and that little shed behind the glass shop. And we're here because of progress. So our landlord got a notice saying, you guys have 3 months to move out because the land is being sold without, they didn't ask anybody or anything. It just got sold, and they put those condos now. So they told us, okay, we were getting comfortable in the place and loving it, and it was already the rent. We're like, wow, it was a lot for us. It was like $300, and we're like, wow. So then we started walking. I started talking to local people that had places. We came here asking for the barn next door, see if hey, can you guys rent us a little corner over there to cut our bottles and stuff? But I talked to the people in this building at EvrBottle, so it was a private company, and I talked to them, and they said, well, let me see. We'll talk to the owner and see if if we can get you to talk to him or whatever. I came back the following week, and I was like, hey, anything yet? They're like, well, what do you guys do? So we told them what we do, and they're like, okay, can you show us your place? We walked over there. They saw our actual place, and they said, okay, how much room do you need? And I was like, well, half of this will work for us, So we came back over here, and they showed me a space in there, and they're like, hey, we have this space over here, but and it's this much, and you guys are welcome to take it. And for us, we were so scared because it was double the rent already. So we're like, okay, we gotta pay double the rent, but that's the only option we got. So we moved there. They help us a lot. Then we wanted to grow a little more, and we're like, well, it'd be good to have like a little place. Let's try to get the products into stores and stuff like that. And it happened that the guy that was in the front over here, where the barbershop is now, the guy moved out. So we couldn't afford to rent the store by ourselves. So we talked to other people, and we rented the store split with other people. And we were sharing the schedule, and 2 different companies, 1 store, sharing whatever we could. Then they moved out. Another scare. Now we have to come up with the full rent, And we have.
Gabby's just like laughing
Yeah, no,
silently.
it's crazy because it was 30 days, and then they left, and then we had to come up with the full rent. Okay, so we finally make it work. We find a way. We bring local artists' products to the store, and we making it work, trying to fill it up too, because all of a sudden it's double the size. And after that, we're trying to do community events and stuff, like doing stuff with the community. Gabby's always been so good about that I love it.
I grew up in a house that it was community completely. From my having 3 brothers, my mom had to do actually groceries, not for 4 kids, but for like
The whole block.
an entire
The whole block.
Yeah. It was like always that way. And when I moved here, I just felt so unhugged, to put it in a way. Like so cold, and like, wow, this is like
we always miss that.
Always
we
miss
that.
community. And then that's when I began with two of my oldest friends, and we just started just hanging out up front and doing like community gatherings every Wednesday for the farmers market.
Yeah.
We'll go to the farmers market, come back, sit, do our thing, and then it just started growing. And I was like, wow, I love this, and I just want to keep doing this. And just that desire of bringing people together, bringing artisans together, bringing entrepreneurs, anybody for the gatherings was really like even more than EvrBottle to me. I was like, I just love this so much, connecting us all. Like, this is amazing what we can all weave together by sharing one space all together. So that's how it all began with the community
You
gatherings.
get to know your neighbors.
You get to know your neighbors.
Which back home is your family.
Is your family.
Right, and
So-
here they're your neighbors.
They're strangers.
Yeah, they're
You
strangers.
barely see them.
And you get to with like people, Mr. Wild that you just met.
Oh, yeah.
Or with Jasmine and Becca. Through that reach of community or that drive that I felt in my heart to do is how I got to experience that the expansions of others was my entire expansion. And mine was there. So it just kept weaving more and more into doing more community for me. It was like that became more of what I wanted to do, more than EvrBottle. Even though EvrBottle is always here,
It's the center of it.
is the center of it, that just took it to another level. for
EvrBottle
me.
was like the seed
Yes.
that allowed you to come into what you really want to do, which is create
And
community.
at one point, it might shift to be ever something else, to take the bottle part of it out of it. It'd be a smaller part of EvrBottle because we want to make it into something bigger, and EvrBottle is defining it to a level. So we might change that second word. We'll keep it somewhere, but we need to take the lid off and let it go.
Yeah, take the lid off.
So to continue with the story, we got the store. Then we're like, oh, doing all the gatherings and all the stuff. We're like, oh, it'd be so nice. We have more space, you know. But what can we do? Well, we're here. We're happy. This is good. Let's use as much as we can. Then, at one point, the people that we were leasing from, they said, hey, we're moving.
And prior to that, Rusty and I kept saying it will be so awesome to have at least half of this building to do like a co-op. And I kept telling her about the idea, and she kept looking at me like, I'm not moving out of here. That's not gonna happen, Gabby. And I was like, okay.
And we love them because it was
Yeah,
a
we
really
loved
good,
them,
really
but
good
she was
company
always
to have
very
here.
honest with us. She's like, I'm not moving anywhere. You're not doing that.
And then they said, we're moving.
60-day notice.
One day.
So they gave us two options. They said, we might rent another warehouse. You guys can come with us, you know, because they were go toward Vista. Or you guys can talk to the owner and see if he will lease it to you guys.
So taking over this whole,
whole
so
building.
for those of you that don't know, there's like one of the main streets here in the village, you have a storefront, but then it goes deep behind where there's all this other space. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know what the square footage
It's like
of this.
3,500 total.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then next door you've got the big barn.
Yeah, the barn.
Which you originally inquired about
A little
is now a piece of
So
what
now
you're doing.
from EvrBottle, it became like now there's a barber shop, and now there's an eco-friendly and local gift shop in here where we carry art and things handmade by local artisans. And there's a pottery shop, the wood shop, bicycle shop, filmmaking, surf shop. So it just grew into, like I said, the expansion of others. It just became one huge.
And all of that
Bang.
supports you guys financially because now it's you're not carrying the whole thing.
Because that was a scary thing again, you know, like how the rent keep going up and up fast. And we're like, okay, now we're going to go into this first. Let's see if the owner wants to rent to us, you know, so we can stay here. And then let's see how we're going to afford this to make it what we want it to be, you know, because we have to find the people. But in the meantime, we have to pay rent.
Yeah,
So-
how are you making the money work?
I don't know.
I love that question.
I don't know.
That's
No
the
plan.
best answer.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Honestly, it's just you know, when you need it one way or the other, it just works, you know. It's like you put it out there and it'll come when you need it and what you need, you know. It's
Just
like,
kind of harness that bravery to like take the leap and go for it. And really, really for us is being especially for me, trusting that by always giving your best, you're gonna get that 10 times folded to you, you know? So every day, whether you got the money or don't have the money, give your best, give your love, give your heart, because it comes back.
So we took over the whole building. We put out an ad on Craigslist by then, looking for people, and we got a ton of emails looking for people looking for share space, because they, you know, we in the ad we say, you're ready to get out of the garage or the living room, because that was our situation, you know?
You can speak to that firsthand.
And you, before you take that jump and rent a store or rent a shop or a warehouse, and you want to try it in a smaller version, you know, come and talk to us, because we want to have you here. So we got a bunch of emails from anywhere from Del Mar to San Clemente, people just sending emails, and we started interviewing people, and we picked 4. And those 4 stayed with us for at least 3 years, with the first one to leave, and in a good way, because they got bigger, was Steady State Roasting.
Oh, right.
Yeah. We
Yes.
first visited
Yes.
Steady State here.
He used to roast here, then he had the coffee cart, then it turned to, he had 3 employees and him working over there. There was people, lines coming out of the door. So, and they only have like 250 square feet, 200 square feet.
It was tiny. There was
Yeah.
like a couple bars still. There was something, no bathroom.
It wasn't
there
like
was
hang out.
something-
It was like get your coffee and kind of like.
Yeah, there was no
There's
room
three
to
sp-
hang out.
There's no room.
Like there was, you know, but the main door right there. So, you know, they grew up and they got bigger. They're down the street. We did some work for them, and good. Elliot over there is great, and so then we expanded a little more. Then with all the events and the people that come over here, a lot of people have, hey, I've been thinking of making this or getting into that. So like, yeah, try it. We have an event coming up. Why don't you come and put a little booth there and see how it goes, you know? And a lot of those people now, they have either good hobbies that are giving them some income, or they have established companies that are working for them. That's the main source of income. So people say it's like an incubator for businesses.
I was just gonna say you're like a launching pad for abundance.
And there's a lot you need to.
Nice.
We're not like business people, but we have learned a lot of little things, you know, on the way, from a market to running a place. And sometimes people don't know. They come over here, it's like, hey, I make this and I want to sell it, you know, in the stores and all that. It's like, okay, what's your wholesale price? They're like, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, I mean, you telling me it costs $10, but that if somebody's gonna buy 20 of them, you need to give them a better price, you know, so they can make some money on top of that. Oh, I didn't think about that. It's like, okay, what's your, you know, do you have business cards? Like, no. What do you call it? It's like, I don't have a name for it yet, you know. So all those things, you know, that you think is you don't even have to think about it. But when you have passion for something you make, you only think about what you make. You're not thinking about everything that goes behind it to make it happen. So we try to help people with that and giving little tips, and sometimes we learn more things from what they're doing too. So it's good. That's the part that we love. And yeah, we now expanded to 2 buildings, and the second building is we got a lot of help from a landlord, and you know, we manage it, and they've been really good with us and working with our dreams, and you know, allowing us to transform this place into what it
The
is now.
vision that we have.
So
They've
what-
really been so supportive of that.
Yeah. What are your dreams? As we start to come to the end of this conversation, which I'm sure can go forever, what are your dreams?
I want this to keep going, to be contagious. We want more people to do this. You know, like if somebody wants to get a little space and divide it, or they want to make whatever they want to make, we want to make the space available for them to try it. We want to make the space available to come and think about it, to ask questions, to whatever. I want to be able to do this, and if we could do this even in another location, which we don't even thinking about it, but it'd be great to reach out in a way, you know, like having, even if it's not the other location, let's say it's not our place, but if we can work with them and be like, hey, go to there, work with them, you can come over here, work with us, you know, keep it going. I don't know, like a big community.
Keep it in flow. Keep it in circulation.
It'd be great that places like this will get bigger to a point that they will connect. You know what I mean? Like when it ripples, you throw two rocks in the water and the ripples touch. If that happens, that would be great. What do you think?
that one of my biggest dreams in life, because I live it with myself, and like you said at the beginning, we're living it,
Yeah.
right? Is for our community, for the whole world. I just start really small. I'm really happy if it's just our communities or little communities around the world to really follow their purpose and to really follow their heart and go after what they want, and to not wait for the right moment. There's never really a right moment more than the now. And my dream is always to see myself, Rusty, you, everybody thrive to a higher versions of themselves. That's always a dream, always, because I believe we can create a world like that, and I believe we have the tools and we have the power and the wisdom and the insight to do it all from our core and our hearts. But there's so much things that get in the way, very like lots of political things, lots of belief systems that just keep you in this hole, in this cave. So it is just a dream of coming out of the caves and shining our hearts and our purpose and our light, and knowing that we have the power to create our dreams now. Like now, we have that power. It's not about like sitting here and like, I want to manifest this, and then just keep sitting there.
Do something.
No, go out there and start by one little thing,
Ask for
every
help.
little thing, and ask for help and connect and just be vulnerable and share. And
Could people ask for your help
Oh yeah.
if they reached out to you?
Oh yeah.
yes,
If we can help, we'll help.
we'll help, absolutely, in every possible way that we can.
So how can they follow you and get a hold of you?
The best way to really keep in the loop with us will be through our Instagram, EvrBottle, and then
EvrBottle.
EvrBottle, and we have a website as well. But the most updated things right now are happening really like we upload them on Instagram. And we have an event coming up next Friday, and it's going to be another arepa gathering. There'll be music, and you have a chance to come see the community, come see the space, come meet people, and share what you are, what you do, and try what we're cooking for the community too,
And
because we're making these delicious Venezuelan meals for everybody, vegan, gluten-free, vegetarian, and we're just stoked. And actually Nomad Eats is also helping us with this a little bit.
Oh, wonderful.
So that's when
Yes.
when I think Rusty was saying, like, when the two ripples touch, we've done that with so many local companies. So it's just
And the other thing I like too is like people that come through our lives here and then they move away or whatever, then we do road trips and we get to meet them and see what they're doing now. So, because like California is really good, but it's not, at least Southern California is not super small business friendly. It's hard to get your business going. There's a lot of, taxes are high, everything. So a lot of people get pushed out and they move to different states to make their dreams come true. And that's totally fine. So when they're out there, you keep touching social media and stuff, but then when you go and actually see what they're doing, you're like, wow, remember when we were talking about this, and now look at this, So I like to believe that it's happening. We just need more people to take that little step. I mean, you guys with the podcast right now, it's like this. I didn't know it was since 2016, and that's great. And this is gonna help more people be like, if they're doubting themselves in any of these topics, they'll be like, you know what? There's more people out there doing this and taking chances, and just go ahead out and do it. And
fuck it and do it.
Just
get out there, show up.
It'll
Show up. Mistakes, no mistakes. Show up.
It'll work. If it doesn't work, just get up and try, modify it or different or whatever. It's like just do something.
It always works.
Yes.
Even if it doesn't work, it's always working to elevate you.
And yes, we always want bottles.
I know.
So you guys got unique bottles and weird looking bottles or
Okay.
nice labels or whatever. We always
Why the
want
hell
those.
aren't we bringing our bottles down here?
I know.
All right.
Because we're using
See,
them
I-
for jars.
Because we're using them to
good.
store food.
Yeah.
Awesome. Gabby, Rusty, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for sharing so beautifully. And there's the the village charm right there, the
Oh, yeah.
train.
Choo choo, tag along.
And we look
Have
forward
fun.
to collaborating with you guys in the future and
Perfect.
sharing our community with your community and letting those ripples come together.
Perfect. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. This is amazing. You guys are amazing, and you guys are an inspiration to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
From across the street to everywhere that you go, running in those amazing mountains, everywhere. You guys are
It's
such
good.
a solid inspiration to us. Thank you. Thank you for having us.